Welcome to Texas podcast. All right. Hey, thanks y'all for having me on the Welcome to Texas podcast. Me and Noel know each other for a little bit, but look, like I was telling him backstage, there has always been, and there always will be, a fascination, with crime, criminals in prison for various reasons. Okay, but it's always been that way, because a lot of people aren't going to take risks. They might fantasize about it or think about it, or but they're not going to go out there and take the risk. And then you have the ones that have done little minor things, but and then you have the ones that, hey, they're playing for keeps. They're all in, like Texas Hold'em. They're doing armed robberies, home invasions, all that kind of stuff, especially in the drug game, because in the drug game, it's in layers. You're not just selling nickel bags and dime bags on the corner. No, there's a whole lot other to it, enforcement, collections, and then once none of that works, now it goes to the yeah. Oh, before I get too far, look, I want to just clarify a few things. My qualifications. When I speak about certain things, I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. Okay, I have a associate's degree. I'm working on the rest, but it's hard because I work and all that. But I took sociology. Okay, social psychology, deviant behavior, and speech. Speaking, because I always wanted to be an advocate for prisoners' rights, because prisoners have always got the short end of the stick. But anyway, and I spent 18 years. When you add it all up, it's between 18 and 20, but I don't really count some of the county 30 days, 60 days. I didn't count all that, but I've spent 18 years in state and federal prisons. And like I was telling Brother Noel, if they ever make an international or a global prison, I'm sure they'll find a way to throw me in that one too. But no, so I've spent, unfortunately, because see, of my addiction, I was educated ever since elementary. I loved learning. My teachers loved me. It was great. But, in my teen years, I got into drug use, and that changed everything, changed the course of everything. But you see, that was just part of my education because I was around criminals and in the prison system. And like I say, I don't just walk in a place and I'm here. No, I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm studying everything, everything that goes on. I'm looking and learning. I mean, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you become familiar with your surroundings completely? It doesn't take long. It's a controlled environment, and you can figure out what's going on and who's running things real quick if you're paying any kind of attention. Okay. So I spent all that time in prison. I already studied the psychology of people, and I'd study myself, but see, I can be real honest with myself, but I'm biased. See, that social psychology in sociology, that's what it is. It's you're studying human interaction, okay? But you can't be biased. You can't be biased. You just have to step back and observe it, and then file away, or you don't write down much in prison. That's not a good idea. But just file everything away. Behavior, retribution, all these different things. How do people interact with each other? And do they interact at the same on the same levels with the same races, or if there's a different race, is the severity any different? See, that's what I mean. I break everything down in layers because you get to the core of things, and you can alter them in people. I was telling my brother, hey, once I know a person, and I've got to know him, and I know if he has any emotions whatsoever, they can be manipulated. Just without them even knowing it. Just you drop little words, little words, and then and they start seeing things your ways. It's real easy. But so the fascination, and look, and it's the violence is part of it, you know. Yeah, there's a crowd, or there's, you know, part of the people that want to hear about, or not want to hear, but are interested or want to study the, you know, the perversion, you know, and the violence and sexual crimes in prison, because they're not all you know, they're not all violent crimes. Some of them are consensual, you know, and a lot of these dudes, they're predatory. They're not 100% predators. They're not smart enough, but they're predatory and they're opportunistic. See, so but and a lot of them have homosexual tendencies, but they're hiding them like, oh yeah, I'm going to take this. No, you know, if you got them in the right situation, they probably let their hair down and put some music on and do whatever. See, that's what I mean. And you can spot it if you watch a person, if you study a person, you know, you can see them. They'll slip. You know, everybody has a kink in their armor unless they're complete psychopaths, and there's a few out there too. They're out there, you know, and you can't spot it. You can't spot it. And hey, like I say, it was a game to me almost. I mean, I spent enough time in there, and I'd watch these guys, and I'm hearing things, or somebody would come and tell me, "Hey, man, these people are, you know, they're planning something. You probably need to stay out of the day room or something." Well, no, I'm going to go get a closer seat because I want to hear. This is one thing that's always, you know, oh man, it's if you're close enough, you know, right before a person attacks somebody, you know, either just, you know, with their fists and feet, or with a weapon, they always say something, or utter some guttural sound comes out of them. I'm not sure if it's voluntary or involuntary, but there's some guttural sound that comes out of them before they tear something up. You hear me? That's straight animal instinct right there. You know, that's what I mean. And normal people, whatever normal means, you know what I mean? I, well, I don't know if you do. Normal meaning, you know, we don't want to settle every problem that arises with violence. You know, somebody bumps into you or cuts in line at you at the Walmart. I mean, you're not going to stomp them out, or you know. But see, when you've been in the prison environment for a long time, you get adjusted to that. It's violent place, you know. Violence rules, insanity rules. We talked about that on my podcast. You know, it's a controlled environment, and insanity rules. It's real easy, you know. Common sense, it doesn't run rampant in there. Okay, and it's by design. You have bitter, angry men and violent that, hey, they're making the rules. Okay, they're making the rules, and it's not going to be to encourage someone to do better, or just, hey, let's get through this and get out. No, no. If some people have their way, nobody get out. Let's just use them up and for our gain. You know, drugs, gambling. That's the main thing. People like to say prostitution, prostitution. Well, a lot of they're doing themselves like that, or because the real gangsters, you know, these dudes that are in there, they're making money, or they're making plans. They're not in with all that, the prostitution and turning people out. No, no. You can't even mess with people like that if you're known for that. You hear me? Yeah, yeah. You know, I got investigated by people because, you know, they wanted me to hang with them or whatever. They need to make sure you ain't gonna tell, you ain't no snitch, and you ain't no punk. That word they use, you know, like they say, man lays down with a punk, two punks get up. That's just, it's, you know, so there's none of that, you know. So, but see, that's another layer of the prison life. Hey, if I broke down everything, say, okay, we're going to start here. We're going to start here with the guards and the system, and then we're going to go to the next layer. Well, okay, the most vulnerable, the homosexuals, transgenders in prison. Okay, and all the various things that they can go through. And then we're going to go down to the next ones, you know, just the ones, hey man, I'm just here and I want to go home in a year. You know, they're lambs, you know, out in the field of wolves, you know. And then the gang members. And see, there's a lot of different, you know, organisms in prison. You know, it's like a soup. You just throw everything in and it mixes up and it functions. It's palatable. You can stand it. A lot of times you can't stand it. Those are the ones that jump off something high or hurt themselves. But it's a mix. Okay. Now I want to start with like at the very beginning, because what prison is now, it's not like that. It's evolutionized too. It's evolutionized. It's grown, and not for the better. Okay, it used to be protection, drugs. People just want to take care, mind their own business. The race is taking care of each other. There's drugs and whiskey. Hey, let's just chill out. That was in the 60s, 50s, and the 60s. Then in the 70s and the 80s, the gangs came. Okay, the gangs came. There was a spot for them. The violence. Look, there's always going to be violence, and then there's always going to be more violence. They're never going to get it under control because they don't want to get it under control. Okay, so that uh, that started the gang, and you think about it. Hey, you're in prison. There's 1,500 dudes in there, maybe 30 or 40 with this gang, 40 or 50 from this gang, and these dudes are about to change the state of Texas. Okay, from right there, what's fixing to go down, it's going to spread in the system first, and then it's going to spread in different cities, and it's still going on. See, you got to understand that it's not, I don't want to use the word power, but when you believe something and you apply yourself, and you're sacrificing. These dudes are the beginning. These dudes were, it was to the death. They were willing to die for what they believed in. Now they threaten a guy with 30 days in the hole and he's going to go tell on everybody. See, it's not like that anymore. But the predators are still there. The predatory animals, they're still there. Because hey, I talked to this guy that got out not too long ago, and oh man, I couldn't believe it what he was telling me. And I'm just looking at him and I'm like, please tell me you're lying, you know? But no, it's just gotten, but it's not, there's no respect, honor. And they say, oh no, no. Yeah, there was honor. Your word meant something, because if it didn't and you gave it to the wrong person, yeah, you ain't coming out of that. You're not coming out of that. Now there's people stealing from each other in there. That was, that didn't go down like that. But like I said, okay, so the gangs, they started growing and they were making moves in there that just affected everything, affected everybody. Because first of all, the moniker gangs, don't let that little word fool you. Okay. These people are structured, and they're not playing. It's way past wanting to make money now. We're way past that. It's power, and that's that on the streets, and a lot of, oh man. But you know what? The other point is that on the inside, a lot of these people that are going to get out, see, they're trying to make connections. They're trying to make, find their niche. So when they get out, yeah, I want to make money, whatever, but it's not for the good. Then a lot of these guys that get out and they burn them, they burn these connections, or these guys in prison are setting them up. See, you can't believe anything anymore in there. You can't believe anything you hear or anything anybody tells you. Hey, go out there and call this dude. He's going to hook you up, man, help you get on your feet. Send me a little something if you can. Just pay them, man. Don't burn me with them. And it's the law all along, and they're just setting people up. And I mean, see, it's gotten like that. Okay, it's gotten like that. But so he had some. Noah had some shows on recently about you know these guys in prison, and got turned out, and then later he came back, and I watched him for him. I told him I'll watch him and study him, and give you my opinion on some of the things. First of all, that dude is a pathological liar. He his voice inflection, his eye movement, and then the way where he'll look up in a way or down in a way, every eye movement tells something, everything. And he just, he's carrying something around he still don't want nobody to know. Instead of just, hey, yeah, this happened, man, but it is what it is. I've moved on, but he can't get past that. See? And that's an issue. That's an issue he's going to have to deal with. He never should have even got on the podcast if he was going to get examined and critiqued and all that. And he couldn't deal with it. See, look, all the things that I've been through in prison. This is the way I did my time. I wouldn't do or say anything in there that my sons would be ashamed of if they heard. Okay, yeah. So anybody that I say everywhere I've been, all the things I've been through, everybody that knows me, I'm straight on everything. Uh, People can debate me or whatever. It doesn't matter. Anything I talk about, it's there because I saw it. It happened. And but the outcome is like I'm not on one side or another. No, I'm just saying I'm sitting here watching people studying human behavior. That's all I'm doing. Whatever they're doing, that's on them. I'm just studying people trying to get out alive. That's all I'm doing because I use those things in my writing. I have a book out. Oh, hey, I didn't tell no. I got another one. I'm almost not almost done. I'm probably about halfway through. I'm about to do another novel, but this one, instead of, like the other one 20 years ago, I got an agent and all that. Now we don't need to do all that. It's going straight digital, ebook. And like I say, what really got me off my butt to just start. I've had this idea for a long time. I mean, you have no idea the stuff that runs through my head because of all that time I did around all those people. And I met some good guys in there, and they tell me some stuff, tell me some stories. And hey, you know what? I can change things around and all that and use it, especially the dudes that are dead, because man, I mean, Hollywood ain't got nothing on real life. You hear me? Because it's the little particularities, the little particular things, the minute things that a script don't catch. The only way you catch that if you've seen it with your own eyes or you've heard it or you've lived it. And I write the way I write now. I'm not, look, I'm just saying the people that have read my book, my novel, they said, dude, it was like I was watching a movie because I'm real descriptive because I've seen a lot of the things that I wrote about in my book. I was there. I've done it. So yeah. But anyway, I got something that'll be out soon. I'm working on it, but man, my back, I can't be sitting down for a long time. I have to get up and all that, just regular things. But now I got some dictation software and I can just say it and anyway, but I'll keep y'all up to that because it deals with death row, and gangs and all that in prison, and because it's real, and especially here in Texas. Hey, everything's bigger in Texas. It always has been, always will be. Okay, especially the gangs, and they've changed all kinds of things, laws and everything here in Texas. It's altered life in cities, because these people are going to get theirs one way or another. That's the bottom line. If you ain't going to treat them right and fairly and help them get out there and make money, they're going to find a way to do it. And then you got the ones that just, they don't want to do it right. They're criminals. That's all they know how to do you know, just like some people are homeless and that's all they know how to do. They don't know how to work. They can't work. They can't even feed themselves. They barely can eat. They're mentally ill. Well, a lot of these criminals, you ain't going to tell them to their face they're mentally ill, but trust me, they got a few screws loose, or trauma that they don't want to deal with. And they're just going to, hey, man, I'm going to do what I want. And I'm going to be as cruel as I can be. There's a lot of people like that out there, a lot. And not the ones that talk about it and, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And I did. No, no, they're not dangerous at all. The ones that, yeah, you can spot them every now and then, but they don't say nothing to nobody. They're going to do, they have their agenda. They have their agenda. wherever they're at. Doesn't matter if they're behind bars or out there, it's all the same. They're on one plane all the time. And actually, other than their little homicidal tendencies, a lot of them dudes, they're good. I mean, you can trust them. You can trust them. They're not going to stab you in the back. These dudes want to look at you. You hear me? There's too many people in prison. They'll come from behind, but these other dudes, they want to look at you. They want to see the expressions on your face. First, the surprise and horror when you figure out what they're about to do to you, and then when they start sticking you with something, yeah, they relish that stuff. You hear me? In one of my short stories, y'all, because I met somebody like that, and he tell me, dude, you have no idea, man, what it does. I'm like, no, and I don't want to know. You're sitting there staring at somebody when you're doing something to them, but oh man, this dude, yeah, this dude, like I say, that he was scary, and I was telling somebody, men don't scare me, not now, because I know what happens when I die. I'm good, with life, but back then, I didn't know God, and man, this dude, I can't. He told me something, and like I say, he trusted me enough to share something with me, and man, it sent chills through me. You hear me? I was like, man, I'm standing next to a monster. I'm just grinning, thinking, Lord, just let me get out of here. But yeah, and see, I incorporate a lot of that stuff in my writing. When I see things, I know how to describe them. You see, but anyways, uh, there's always going to be in prison. There's always going to be now worse, sexual assaults. Now even more. Hey, there's more sexual assaults now. Let's say from 2020 to the present. There's more sexual assaults going on in prison than there was way in the 80s and the 90s because of the open homosexuality, the trans, and all that. Hey, every unit I've ever been on since back in the 90s, there was a trans on one of them, just breasts or whatever. That's it. Everyone. And there's more fights. Yeah. Yeah. It's always something going on behind them, you know. So, but anyways, look, so okay, so I've clarified. If I say something, I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what kind of format that Noah wants to do, but like I was telling him, there are so many different layers of prison, and then let's not forget the guards, and let's not forget the administrators. Okay, they're just as culpable as the inmates. You got to get this through. You got to believe part of what I say about the administrators, because I know you're not going to believe it all, but that's okay, but they are culpable also. They're to blame for the way things are. Okay. I've, like I said, I've stayed in there 18 to 20 years, and uh, the grievance system and the lawsuits and all that. So I know all their replies verbatim. Okay. I'm telling you that the system is set up a certain way, and you can go in just resolute. Hey, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to respect these officers, and get out and do my time, and go home, and end up getting out a bitter full because the inmates were messing with you and the guards were messing with you. That's just reality, you know. Seen it too many times. I don't know why I was spared. I know I got my mental shit. I've been diagnosed with PTSD and all that, but whatever. I work and take care of my business. I ain't on no medication or nothing, but I still go in these rages sometimes. I get angry. You hear me? But see, I'm working on that. Hey, that's our struggle. If you think you're going to go to prison, even just for a year or two, and get out unscathed, you got another thing coming, because you're not. You will suffer some type of trauma, even if it's up here, just up here. And whatever, there's dudes out there, I said, okay, whatever. Those are the same ones you see them in there reading the letter. They done read that same letter about 15, 20 times, but they're all hard and all that. Okay, whatever. I seen it, dude. This chick would kiss the letter, and man, this fool's in there. After child, you'd see him in there. He'd come to the door, just like look around, like, and then he'd go over there. Man, he's gonna open that letter up. He's over there kissing. I mean, but they, hey, like I say, it's another world. Okay, it is a completely different world in there. All right, and it's like in the political realm. There's just levels, and you got to play the game wherever you fall into, whatever category. You got to roll with it. You try to buck, man. And like I said, I don't know about anything else in Texas State and in the Fed. I was around mostly Texas people, and they operate the same way. I don't care if you're Fed or State. The dudes from Texas carry themselves a certain way, man. Okay, yeah, respect and class, and we ain't laying down for nobody. I mean, it's just different, like you hear about the DC blacks and all that. Those dudes are known for getting people drunk and taking advantage of them, booty bandits. You hear me? They don't like them in Texas states, the southern states. They don't want these dudes around. Back then, they wouldn't have even one on the yard. I don't know what's going on now. Like I say, everything goes, anything goes now. Okay, that's why it's important, to tell people the truth. This is reality. Don't whatever people are saying or what's on TV, don't listen to them because this is reality. Every time you break the law, it's a chance that you're going to suffer the consequences for it. Okay, I mean, you have to understand that. And then the other crowd, not the ones thinking about doing anything, but the ones that are just like vicariously escaping their boring lives and living out their fantasies through things that people are talking about, whether they embellish it or not. I can tell it straight out how it is. I don't have to embellish it or add carama or nothing like that. I don't have to, because the stuff I seen, anything worthy of talk about, man, it was either just straight treacherous. It was either straight treacherous or it was just genius. Okay. Yeah, genius. Hey, man, like I say, everybody has their own opinion, but I'm going to tell you something. The people that we have running this country and sitting on councils and senators and all that, yeah, if we didn't have weapons, we'd be hit. We'd be jacked because the men in prison, these geniuses in man, violent dude, they got a pair. They'll do what they got to do. I mean, yeah, yeah. If we had people like that running our country, man, we'd be all right, man. There wouldn't be hungry kids. I know that. There wouldn't be hungry kids, and we wouldn't be going out fighting other wars unless it was going to really, really benefit everybody, not just a select few. You know, but it is what it is. They throw a label on you, felon, and that's it. But it's not it. See, that's the other part. Uh, it's recidivism. You only got two options when you get out of prison or once you get in the system. Recidivism, you're going back, or recovery. See, you can stay away. I've been out of prison for 70 something years, but look, I've been clean 9 years, 9 months, and 22 days. Okay. March 10th of 2015 was the last time I did heroin. Okay. That's it. I've had my medical marijuana cards and all that, but nothing. I don't drink anyway, but that's it. And life's been great now because, see, I don't have that anchor. People call it all kinds of stuff, gorilla and all. No, but it's an anchor because it's going to get you stuck right where you're at in nothing, and you ain't going to move from there. See, but there is help, and it's like you got to want it. You can do it. Don't look to the government or anybody else to help you. Just if you really want to do it, you can, because there ain't no life in the prison system. What we can do is we can reflect about what happened in there to whoever, things we read, things we talk about, discuss it, the dynamics of the psychology of it, whatever. Or we can talk about things I mean, there's a lot of different aspects. What can we learn from it? Or what's going to happen to these people? What should happen? I mean, all that. But the main thing is that we're never going to be at a time where we don't have any prisoners no more, or parolees, or people going in, because everybody hunger will make you do things. If you hunger or you lack just basic life necessities, yeah, you're gonna go out and get something. And like I say, it's planned like that. That's the way the system's set up. These Romans know what they're doing. So anyway, um, I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna cut it short. But look, I'm gonna let Noel what if anything specific that he wants me to comment on or talk about. But like I say, I'm Bobby. Okay, Bobby Damides, Bobby Anaya, and I've been there and I didn't come out unscathed, but I'm not a bitter fool. I know there's better things than going back in and out, because I did that too many times. I've had like 5 felonies, probably 20 misdemeanors. I mean, it's ridiculous. Addiction, that's what it does. And then mental illness and not knowing, undiagnosed, where you can't communicate it, or you go in a shell. You get in depression, you go in a shell, and you think nobody understands. See, that's one of the nobody understands. That's part of it. But the main thing is, and it might sound a little crazy, but I'm so grateful that of some of the men I met in there, because I would have met men with their character and their flaws, but their honesty and their integrity, man. You hear me? Yeah, you ain't gonna meet people like that out here. It's sad, but the best men I've ever met in my life are in prison. Okay, bar none. Bar none. You have to get real in there, because fake don't make it. You have to be real. you know. But oh man, I'm telling you, there's some guys I always think of them. You never forget them. I've used their names in some of my short stories in my novels, and I will again. You know, like I say, they're good dudes and they're never going to get out. And all because somebody said, "Oh, you know what? You shouldn't have did this." They didn't take into the account, why did he grab that AK and shoot everybody in the house? Why would somebody do that? Why? Nobody seemed to really care. It was done, and you're going to prison for life. End of story. You know, but that, like I say, but that dude, see all these people that I've met, but the ones that we were friends, I can call them my friends, and I got to know them, and they told me about their crime. And like I say, I know when people are lying, and I'll call them out on it. But I didn't ever have to do that very often. But dudes were just honest and tell me, "Hey, man, it was like this." And I was like, "Well, who do you blame?" "I blame God." But wait, 5 minutes ago, he said you didn't believe in him. See, I would engage them, and you pull things out. I mean, I don't know. I can't explain it, but I know I made some good friends, and I know there are men in there that they remember me too, because they were able to. I was, man, I would I'd be a sounding board, and they could trust me. I wasn't trying to get info and go and tell on them. No, they knew me because I was by myself too. I hung by myself, and but anyway, I'm gonna be, that's what I got going, my writing, and I still do my podcast. I have that Prison Plex 1965. It's my mugshot when I was in, I think it was 1990. And then I have my Christian podcast. It's called the Savior Podcast, all about Jesus. Man, and then Jesus and the Outcast. I had a lot keeping it real. Hey, I was in prison. Now I'm not. Now I just work and give and help. That's what life's about now. It ain't about gimme, gimme, gimme. You know, no, God's good. He saved me. So now I just give back and speak. Youth, whatever. If I get a particular topic that I can touch on, drug use or trying new drug or whatever, I can speak on it. And then they do what they want with it. I don't want anything. I've never asked for a penny on my podcast because I don't need it. It's free. You know. But anyway, uh, like I say, you check my podcast out. But welcome to Texas Podcast. Me and Noel hopefully will be collaborating more, doing some stuff or getting some three ways, because some of these people that are out there saying these things, I'd like to talk with them, and see what happens. But all right, y'all. Like I say, you leave any comments or any questions, and Noah will get back with me.